You're up to
That's a
77%
cruel
now.
greeting into the ball game
Like
for Josh
64.
Fleming and Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts was smiling wide after that home run, as were all Dodger fans, including Keith. That was Dan Schulman and Chris Singleton on ESPN Radio. The Dodgers' 8-3 win last night over the Rays. They'll take a 1-0 series lead in the Fall Classic. Game 2 tonight. Tony Gonsolin for the Dodgers, 26 years old, mixed bag in the playoffs thus far. The Rays got just what they need after facing a deficit. The 2018 Cy Young winner Blake Snell will toe the rubber for them. We'll talk to Jessica Mendoza, ESPN baseball analyst, coming up 8:45 Eastern. From those fans in Tampa to those fans elsewhere, somewhere in Florida, that would be in Miami, where Tua has been named the Dolphins starting quarterback. If you're wondering what's right out of the gate, well, we got a bye, then they got the Rams. Pretty easy schedule. Last 4 games, though, will be tough. Ryan Fitzpatrick leaves Tua with a 3-3 team, so a 500 record, as Fitzpatrick knew that day was coming sooner rather than later, and Tua takes over spot duty, as you may have seen on Sunday, but now he's the guy moving forward. And the guy for the Pacers, their new head coach, is Nate Bjorkgren. May not know about him. Highly regarded.
Mike D'Antoni. What happened?
They were kicking the tires on D'Antoni because they want to become much more offensively inclined versus their old coach, Nate McMillan, who is a defensive guy.
Fresh blood, man.
And Bjorkgren sat next to Nick Nurse, and a lot of people believe he knows what he's doing in Toronto. So, still looking for a head coach? D'Antoni's old team, the Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the New Orleans Pelicans. SportsCenter is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. You need the best coverage, and not just football, but your wireless network too. Straight Talk Wireless gives you the same networks as big carriers for up to half the cost. $45 a month for 25 gigs of high-speed data, then 2G. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. And we welcome in on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line the Super Bowl champion, Ryan Clark. You'll see Ryan, of course, this morning, as you often do on Get Up at 8 a.m. Eastern with Greeny and Company, but we'll get him warmed up. Brought to you by...
Here, man, that's water right there.
Gotcha.
You got enough beverages up there. Take a swig.
I do.
Way to rub it in, because the reason he's a Super Bowl champion because he stopped me from getting there. So appreciate you, Ryan Clark.
How about that?
I didn't win that one, actually, bro, so you good.
So Ryan is a Super Bowl champion with the Steelers. He's brought to you by Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline. As I get my voice back, Ryan, the Cowboys are trying to get their footing back. A couple of players came out yesterday, told the NFL Network that Mike McCarthy and his staff are totally unprepared and they're not good at their jobs. McCarthy fired back with the usual, just say it to my face if you're going to say it. What do you make of this whole situation?
I mean, this is just a symptom of losing. This is about being a bad team. And I don't think anyone ever looked at the Dallas Cowboys and thought to themselves, they've assembled an excellent group of leaders. They thought that they had good talent, that they had some good players, and that Dak Prescott was the leader of this team. Now you've lost that leader, but also Mike McCarthy has no relationship with these guys. And you can tell by the say it to my face statement, he's a guy that wants to walk around and puff out his chest. Look at me. I coached Aaron Rodgers. I have a Super Bowl. Well, right now, you can't win. Right now, you can't coach your way out of a paper bag. And I think when you treat people a certain way and you want to walk around with a certain machismo, you can't act like that. Now, the other part is the team sucks. The players suck. So they should be more focused on themselves than ratting on their coach. But it's the whole organization that's a dumpster fire, and they're going the opposite direction in which they expected from Jason Garrett, and I don't think that they're equipped to handle it.
You know, Ryan, you know me, man. I really don't have a problem with the players saying what it is. Put your name to it, though. Don't hide behind a notepad or a tape recorder or even an iPhone from a reporter, so to speak. But here, let's move on to some brighter things. Down in Miami, Miami's 3-3, one game out of first place. And they made a decision to move on from Ryan Tannehill to go with Tua in this situation. If you were on that team, Ryan, how would you feel knowing you're one game out of first place within the division and a chance at a playoff berth?
You know, Keyshawn, when you look at moving on from Ryan Fitzpatrick, obviously we know who he is. We know that eventually, you know, that chariot turns into a pumpkin and he's going to have that turnover game, or he necessarily can't lead you to the promised land. But right now he's playing extremely well. So what that says to me, this was something the Dolphins had planned. Brian Flores, to me, though, has earned the respect that I would accept this decision. He's a guy who people thought was coaching a tanking team. He's a guy who's taken this team and has them 3-3 right now at this moment with a journeyman quarterback. And he understands defense. He understands leadership. He understands how to delegate and lead an organization. And because of all those things, and because of what he's shown me in a little under a year and a half, I believe in his process. So I think if I'm a teammate of Tua Tagovailoa and Ryan Fitzpatrick, or if I'm a player on Brian Flores' team, I respect this decision and I go out and play football because he's done nothing but try to put this team in the best position to win since he's taken over as head coach.
Now, listen, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I'm gonna go back to the Dallas Cowboys again, because we always understand that adversity doesn't define character; it reveals it, right? And that revealed more about the players than anything. Because listen, we've all had first-year head coaches, and it's always going to be a rough patch, and that tells you who's going to be with you and who's going to back up the bus, and you hear that boop boop, and I smell diesel fuel, which what we would always say. Right, so so I'm not gonna keep beating that up because I think they have a lot of problems in Dallas, and it starts with the personnel as well and the type of players they got, not their talent. But I want to go back to our old division, our rivalries. We had some great ones, right? We two teams that similarly built. I think right now you can make the argument that the Pittsburgh Steelers are the best team within that division, and I think that Lamar Jackson needs some help. So I think that the Baltimore Ravens are at least one, receiver away from being able to say I can be a legitimate
I know where this is going.
Because you think about Lamar Jackson trying to go from the pocket, you can't win consistently when they're able to force him to do that. So do you think they should make a trade for maybe Julio Jones, who should be a fire sale there, maybe A.J. Green, or bring Hollywood's cousin to town? And would you endorse that? Do you think the Ravens have a strong enough leadership to be able to handle a guy like Antonio Brown, to be able to pair him, because you got to get more dynamic down the field, being able to throw the ball?
No, I do. I think the Antonio Brown signing, or at least looking into getting him once his suspension is over, is something that the Baltimore Ravens should absolutely do. When you have a coach like John Harbaugh, a coach who actually, released Earl Thomas, a guy who may be a Hall of Famer in the future, it shows what type of organization they have and also how they feel about their program, how they feel about the way they run their day-to-day. And you have to get somebody on the outside that's going to make plays. You have to get somebody on the outside that's going to make throws easier outside the numbers for Lamar Jackson. And I don't know if you have the capital to go out and get Julio Jones and keep your team intact, or I don't know what Cincinnati would want for A.J. Green, or if A.J. Green still has it. But the Antonio Brown thing would be intriguing to me. He obviously has Hollywood Brown in the team. He knows and has a personal relationship with Lamar Jackson, and also his back's against the wall. This would be his last chance. So if that team wants to get over a hump, that's something I would look into.
Ryan, come up for some air, man. I have more questions for you, but we're running out of time.
We got to let you go. Ryan's off to SportsCenter.
Hey,
He'll
man,
be off.
Zuba, you can always